time to take a look at our Throwback Thursday, our History of the Week. 이번 주에 우리가 알아볼 역사는 바로 중종반정입니다. So today we're looking at 중종반정. It's the 중종 Rebellion, the first one in the Joseon dynasty that was purely initiated by officials to oust the king. 이제 조선 왕조 최초로 순전히 신하들이 주도하여 왕을 몰아낸 반란인데요. 조선시대의 왕을 몰아내고 다른 왕족이 왕이 된 경우는 적지 않게 있었지만 왕이 무능한 것을 신하들이 참지 못하고 반란을 일으켜 몰아낸 경우는 연산군을 몰아고 종종이 왕이 된 중종 반정이 최초였습니다. Now, there weren't a few instances in the Joseon dynasty where the king was ousted and another royal family member became the king, but it was the first time that officials couldn't bear the incompetence of a king and then staged a rebellion to oust him, which was the case with King Yeongsan-gun during the 중종 Rebellion. 조선시대에는 왕을 부르는 호칭에 조나 종을 붙였는데요. 연산군은 조선 왕조 역사에서 광해군과 함께 반란을 인해 왕의 자리에서 쫓겨나서 이 이름을 받지 못하고 영원히 군으로 남은 임금 중 한 명이죠. 영산군은 조선이 10대 임금이었는데요. 임금에 오르자마자 나라 운영에는 크게 신경 쓰지 않고 사치를 일삼았죠. Now, in the Joseon dynasty, the titles Jo or Jong were attached to the king's name. King Yeongsan-gun, along with Gwanghae-gun, is one of the kings in history of the Joseon dynasty who was ousted from the throne due to a rebellion and thus never received such titles and remained forever known by the title of Gun, meaning prince. So Yeonsan-gun was the 10th monarch of Joseon, but as soon as he ascended to the throne, he didn't pay much attention to national affairs, but only indulged in luxury. 방탕한 생활을 즐기기 위해 흥청이라는 관청을 만들어 전국의 미녀들을 데려오기도 했는데요. 우리가 전에 배운 흥청망청이 바로 여기서 온 말이죠. 거기다가 사냥은 또 엄청 좋아해서 경기도 대부분 땅이 임금의 사냥터였다고 하는데요. 이런 상황이니 당연히 나라가 제대로 돌아가기가 없겠죠. 재정은 빠르게 악화되어 있고 그걸 메꾸려고 또 세금을 올리다 보니까 백성들의 삶은 점점 더 힘들어져만 갔었죠. Now the king established an office called 흥청 to bring beauties from all over the country in order to indulge in a dissolute lifestyle for his unending thirst of luxury. So the term actually, 흥청망청, which we learned before, is directly related to this as well. Additionally, the king had a great fondness for hunting. It's mentioned that most of the land in Gyeonggi province was considered his hunting grounds. And so given such circumstances, it was impossible for the country to function properly. The nation's finances deteriorated rapidly, and thus the taxes were raised to cover the worsening finances, which the lives of the common people became increasingly difficult. 거기다가 더해 자신에게 마음에 들지 않은 신하들은 아예 지위를 떨어뜨리거나 심지어는 죽이기까지 하는 등 그야말로 독재자가 따로 없었는데요. 결국 이를 가만두면 안 되겠다는 생각이 든 신하들은 반란으로 연산군을 끌어낼 수밖에 없다는 결심을 하게 되었습니다. Furthermore, if there were any officials he disliked, he would demote them or even killed them, being a very much dictator in that sense. Eventually, officials who thought they could no longer let this go on decided that they had to take chances into their own hands and dethrone Yeongsan-gun through rebellion. The story continues after Duran Duran, Notorious. We are here taking a look at the 중종 Rebellion. 이제 박원종을 중심으로 한 반란 세력은 아무래도 그동안 오래도록 불만들이 쌓여있기 때문에 가담하는 사람들도 많았고 그래서 생각보다 수월하게 성공을 했는데요. 연산군의 주변에서 아부만 하던 사람들은 모두 잡혀 죽임을 당하고 연산군 또한 의외로 도망가거나 저항하지 않고 순순히 결과를 받아들였다고 합니다. Now this 중종 rebellion led by Park Won-jung was relatively easy to accomplish due to the long-standing grievances by many. Many joined the rebel group, and those who flattered Yeongsangun were all captured and killed. And surprisingly, Yeongsangun himself didn't run away or resist, but actually accepted the outcome obediently. 궁궐을 장악한 반란 세력이 왕의 상징인 옥새를 달라고 하자 내 죄가 심각하여 이렇게 될 줄 알았다. 좋을 대로 하여라 라며 순순히 내주었다고 해요. 그리고 이후에 저 먼 시골로 유배를 갈 때도 내 죄가 큰데 왕의 은혜를 입어 무사히 간다 라며 감회에 올랐다는 기록이 있습니다. 잘못된 행동들을 하면서도 그것들 잘못된 행동이라는 것은 또 아는 것 같기도 하는데 약간 안타까워하는 것 같기도 하고 It's a bit pitiful, isn't it? Now the rebels who seized the palace demanded the royal seal, a symbol of the king, and he readily handed it over, saying, My crimes were severe, and I knew this would happen. Do as you wish. And then he was later exiled to a distant countryside where he boarded the palanquin, saying, I am guilty, but I am grateful for the king's grace to go safely. So, despite his wrongdoings, it does seem like he was aware that they were wrong, which makes it a little more sad to see such tragedy, isn't it? 연산군이 폐위된 후 중종은 가만히 있다가 왕이 된 거였네요. 그죠? 중종은 연산군과 아버지가 같지만 다른 어머니에게서 태어난 이북 동생이었거든요. 이 계기로 조선 왕조에서는 보통 장남이 왕위를 물려받아야 한다는 그 세습제에 대한 새로운 변화를 가져오게 됩니다. 능력만 있다면 꼭 장남이 아니어도 왕이 될 수 있었던 거죠. So after Yeongsangun was deposed, 중종 became king quite easily, quietly, so to say. So 중종 was a half-brother born to a different mother but the same father as Yeongsangun. Now this incident brought about a new change in the Joseon dynasty hereditary system, as it showed that even if one was not the eldest son, they could become king if they had the capability. 연산군은 유배를 간 후 고작 29세의 나이로 사망하였는데요. 조선의 대표적인 폭군이자 정말로 강렬한 인상을 주었던 연산군의 최후는 꽤나 초라했습니다. 아무리 많은 권력을 가진 사람일지라도 주변의 신뢰를 받지 못하거나 사람들의 마음을 사지 못한다면 그 권력이 오래가지 못할 것이라는 말이 참 맞는 말인 것 같습니다. Afterwards, Yeongsangun died at the very young age of 29 while in exile. The end of Yeongsangun was quite iconic as a tyrant of Joseon. Maybe iconic isn't the best word, but well known to be a tyrant of Joseon, left a strong impression. But the end was quite pitiful, as it seems true that even if one holds a lot of power, if they do not have the trust and cannot win the hearts of the people around them, the power will not last long. Here is Y2K, 헤어진 후에.